All right. Hey, everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
So, we'd love to really get into a topic here.
Yeah.
And for today's deep dive, we are going to be looking at The Madness.
Oh, yeah. Big one.
Yeah, the new Netflix series. So, I don't know if you've been hearing about this one.
So everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's getting a ton of buzz.
So much buzz.
And for good reason. I think we're going to
Yeah.
get into that.
Yeah, let's get into it.
But I mean, just the premise alone is just incredibly intriguing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, we're dealing with a show that is kind of like a slow burn thriller, but it also has this like really mysterious crime element to it. It's one of those shows that's going to keep you guessing.
Yeah, definitely.
And so what we're going to do today is we're going to do a deep dive into the first episode.
Okay.
Because I think the first episode really sets the stage for everything that makes this show so captivating.
I agree.
So one of the things that really struck me, from reading about the show is that the main character is described as being incredibly enigmatic.
Yeah.
Like he's this really mysterious figure.
Yeah.
And the source material we're looking at actually points out
Yeah.
how the actor who plays this character
Yeah.
just has this like incredible presence on screen
Yes.
that just adds to the suspense.
Definitely.
Like you're always wondering what's going on.
Oh, absolutely.
Blind his eyes.
Yes.
What's he thinking? What's he going to do next?
Yes, totally. And it starts off so ordinarily,
Well, that's the thing.
Like it starts off and you think, oh, this is, kind of a normal everyday
Yeah.
kind of situation. And then, bam.
It just descends into chaos.
Yes.
Like this brutal murder happens.
Yeah, and then suddenly you're like, whoa, okay, what is going on?
And it just makes you question everything.
Yeah, everything, yeah.
Like, who is this guy? Who are all these people around him?
And how are they all connected?
Exactly. And I think one of the things that the show does really well is it kind of, it weaves these timelines together.
Yeah.
So we're seeing the present-day investigation, but we're also getting these glimpses into the protagonist's past.
Yes.
And it's through these, kind of jumps back and forth in time that we start to piece together
Right.
who he is and how he's connected to all these other characters.
Yeah, it's such a clever narrative technique, right?
Yeah.
Because you're slowly like getting these pieces of the puzzle, but it's not linear. So
No.
you have to kind of keep track of where you are in time and in place.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's how that connects.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then they throw in another twist.
Another twist.
And you're like,
Oh,
wait a minute.
I have to rethink everything.
Okay, so we've got this really intriguing main character. We've got these like shifting timelines and locations.
Right.
But, it's not just about the plot.
No, definitely not.
It's also about the way the story is told.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I found really interesting is that the source material actually praises the show's dialogue
Yeah.
as being masterfully restrained,
Masterfully restrained, yes.
which I thought was such a fascinating choice
Yeah.
because you've got this show with like so much going on,
Right.
so much tension, so much mystery,
Yeah.
but the dialogue is very like, it's not over the top.
Yeah, it's very subtle.
It's very subtle. It's very nuanced.
It's like, I think it's more about what's not being said
Yes.
than what is being said, right?
Exactly.
You can feel the tension in the silences, in the
Mhm.
pauses, the way characters look at each other.
Yeah, they talk about like, remember that scene with the brother
Oh, yeah.
where they meet for the first time in like years?
Yeah, yeah.
And they barely say anything to each other.
They barely say anything, but the tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife.
Right. You can just feel the history between them.
Yeah.
All the unspoken things, the resentments, the secrets, it's all there bubbling under the surface.
Exactly. And that restraint, that's what makes it so powerful.
Yeah.
Like it draws you in, it makes you lean in and pay attention.
And it makes you want to know more.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like what happened between these two?
What is the story there?
Yeah, what are they not saying? And I think that's one of the things that makes the show so addictive.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's like you're constantly trying to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, you're like working with the show, you're trying to solve the puzzle along with the characters.
Right, and it's not just the dialogue.
Yeah.
It's also like the way the show looks.
Yeah, the visuals are amazing.
The cinematography.
Oh, yeah.
Source material talks about these like really shadowy settings.
Yeah.
And these really striking compositions.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're using these visual elements to kind of reflect the character's inner turmoil.
Oh, 100%.
Like the way they frame a shot or the way they use light and shadow.
Yeah, like, do you remember that shot? It's like, midway through the episode, I think, the
Mhm.
the protagonist's walking down this dark alleyway,
Yeah.
and his face is like half hidden in shadow.
Yeah, yeah.
You can barely see his expression, and it's like,
It's like a visual representation of the mystery surrounding him.
yes, exactly. Like he's shrouded in darkness,
Mhm.
and you're just like, who is this guy? What is he hiding?
Right, and it just adds to that overall sense of unease
Oh, for sure.
and mystery that pervades the whole show.
Definitely.
And then you've got, on top of that, we talked about the dialogue,
Mhm.
the cinematography.
Right.
You've also got all these like clues and red herrings that they sprinkle throughout the episode.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so clever.
Mm-hmm.
The way they kind of they give you just enough information to keep you guessing.
Yeah, it's like they're dangling a carrot.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, oh, I need to know more.
Yeah.
I need to figure this out.
But then they throw in like a twist or a turn,
Yeah.
and it leads you down a completely different path.
Yeah, and you think you've got it figured out,
Yeah.
and then they're like, nope,
Yeah.
wrong.
And you're like,
Back to square one.
okay, start over.
Yeah,
Think again.
exactly. I love it.
It's so good, right?
Yeah.
And the pacing, too.
Oh, yeah, the pacing is brilliant.
It's like it goes from these moments of like very quiet tension
Yeah.
where you're just like kind of absorbing all these details and trying to put things together.
Right, and the atmosphere is so thick,
Mm.
you can, like, feel it.
And then all of a sudden, bam,
Explosion.
like something happens and it just like jolts you out of that
Yeah,
quiet.
you're, like, on the edge of your seat.
Yeah. And your heart's racing.
Yeah.
And you're like, what just happened?
Exactly.
What's going to happen next?
And it just keeps you, like, completely engaged.
Right.
You're never bored. You're
Yeah.
never like, oh, I know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
It keeps you guessing the whole time.
It's just so well done.
Yeah, it's masterfully crafted, really. Yeah. Like every element is working together to create this really compelling experience.
So we've talked about like all the things that the show does well.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious, like, why do you think someone would be drawn to a show like this?
Well, I mean, for starters, it's a really intelligent show.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't underestimate the audience.
Mm.
It assumes that you're smart,
Right.
that you can keep up with the twists and turns,
Yeah.
and that you're actually going to enjoy being challenged a little bit.
Mhm.
You know, it's not just like a passive viewing experience. It's
Right.
something that you have to actively engage with.
Mm.
And I think people who love, like really good character-driven stories
Yeah.
are going to be drawn to this
Yeah.
because the characters are so complex and so well developed.
Right.
They're not just like archetypes or stereotypes.
Right.
They feel like real people with real motivations and flaws.
Yeah. And I think, for me personally,
Mhm.
I'm always drawn to stories that kind of explore the darker side of human nature.
Well,
You know? Like what makes people do bad things?
Mm-hmm. Right.
What are the choices that we make
Yeah.
that lead us down those paths?
Right. The gray areas of morality.
Yeah.
Not just black and white, good and evil,
Right.
but like the messy, complicated stuff in between.
Yeah. And the madness definitely doesn't shy away from that.
No, not at
It really like delves into those complex psychological landscapes.
Yeah, it peels back the layers of these characters
Mm-hmm.
and shows you, what's really going on beneath the surface.
Yeah, it's like you're getting a glimpse into the inner workings
Yeah.
of these people's minds.
Their souls almost.
Right. And it's fascinating and it's disturbing
Yeah.
and it's everything that I love in a good thriller.
Oh, I agree.
So yeah, I think like if you're someone who enjoys those kind of stories,
Mm-hmm.
definitely check this show out.
Definitely.
Yeah. So to kind of wrap things up,
Yeah.
we've talked about a lot today. We've talked about the unique blend of genres.
Mm-hmm.
That slow burn thriller mystery.
Yeah.
We've talked about this incredibly magnetic protagonist
Yes.
who just draws you in.
Definitely.
We've talked about the clever use of timelines
Mm-hmm.
and locations and how that keeps you guessing.
Yes.
And we've talked about the visuals, the dialogue,
Yeah.
pacing, all of those things that come together to create this really captivating experience.
Yeah, it's like a masterclass in suspenseful storytelling.
Right.
It really is. Yeah.
But here's a question I want to leave you with.
Okay.
As you watch this show, think about this.
Mm.
How much are our choices shaped by our past?
Ooh.
Like, can we ever truly break free
That's a big one.
from the events that define us?
Yeah.
Or are we always going to be haunted by the things that have happened to us.
Right, by the ghosts of our past.
Exactly.
That's a great question.
Yeah, and I think the madness really like grapples with that question.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think.
It makes you think about the nature of identity, the nature of choice, the nature of consequence.
Yeah.
You know, like all those big, heavy themes that we all kind of wrestle with in our lives.
For sure.
So I don't know about you, but I am definitely adding the madness to my watch list.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's a show that everyone should check out.
I agree.
And I'm really curious to see where they go with it.
Yeah, me too. I'm hooked already just from that first episode. Like,
Yeah.
I need to know what happens next.
Right.
I need answers.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us today.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the madness.
It was fun.
And until next time, happy watching.
Happy watching.
See ya.
Bye.